Hello tubers, we're back at this engine again, and you know what I'm like, I'll always tell you if I make mistakes and stuff, so I don't try and hide them or anything. I nearly made a massive mistake doing the crank on this engine. I've been cleaning off this is the ladder section to cover the crank, and I've tightened all the crank up and all the piston rods, but I just happened to be reading a book again, and I actually took the wrong torque settings for the bearing caps. It's 15, 20, 35, 80 Newton meters, then further tighten a 90-degree angle. I did them as camshaft carrier bolts. So I did them to 37, then tighter further than 90. So they weren't tight enough, and they still aren't tight enough. So just the bolts, which are the bearing caps with the numbers on, that hold the crankshaft on, are torqued wrong. I torqued them wrong before, so I'm going to do that now. Thank God I didn't start putting the engine together any further. So that was just a stupid mistake by me, and it isn't very clear on you. I know you can see it now, but I only noticed it by reading the book when I was trying to find the torque settings for this ladder section. And I just happened to see it said bearing caps, and for some reason camshaft carrier bolts. And look, the big end bearing cap bolts there. It's very, very confusing. So there we are. Like I say, I always show if I make a mistake. So that's what we need. Main bearing cap bolts. So 15 Newton meters, 20 Newton meters, 35 Newton meters, 80 Newton meters, and then angle tighten a further 90, okay? So I'm going to do that now, and we'll go back where we started. My bad, what a knob. Right guys, I just tested the torque on these as they were before. So I did into 37 and then a 90-degree turn originally. And when I went to test the torque on them, they were over 100 pounds as they were. So fuck knows what these are going to be when I put them to 80 Newton meters and then do half a turn. I don't know will it do it, but I've loosened them all off now, and I'm going to do it with the other torque wrench, the more accurate one. I'm saying that is bloody accurate, fair play. It's just not so high tech. So I'll put you down and show you what it's like, because these look like they're going to be mega tight. Torqued up now. So like I said, I don't show you any bullshit. That's what I did. I made a mistake. I did the actual rod bolts torque on the bearing cap bolts, which is my fault. So we'll spin that now, and that should spin hopefully with a bit of luck. There we go. Nice and free. So now we can start doing the rest of things. Now I spent a bit of time cleaning this off before. I'll do that again. I'll get the bolts in place and get the seals in place, and probably video it just as I'm getting nearer to putting it on. Okay. Right, we got the ladder assembly on. We put the gaskets in between that and the block. I looked at a video online, and they put them on dry. So the gaskets between the block and this sump are dry. They're special gaskets, like a head gasket. So just going to say, when it fits on top of the block here, it moves around a bit. So what you've got to do is make sure it's flush. I don't know if you can see that. It's a job for me to hold the torch and everything, but if you see where that is there, get a straight edge and make sure it's flush there and there, so that the main oil seal can sit okay. So make sure you get that right. We've just nip these up quietly back now, and we're going to tighten them up to the specified torque, which is 23 Newton meters. So not very high. Let me just center you up there again. That's it. Sorry, it's just a job to set you up. So that isn't a very high torque. I'm trying this way of doing things because people seem to like you do it, watching you do stuff. Right, so we got 23 Newton meters, which is bugger all, and we just are supposed to have it. There's supposed to be a way of doing it, but basically we're just going to do it from the middle outwards. So here, there, just work your way outwards. We've torqued them down. I'll just go over them now all to check them, but that's the ladder system torqued down. Next thing is to fit the new oil pump on. We'll fix that on next, and the chain, because that's what originally fucked the engine, was the oil chain. The chain going from the crank broke, stopped the oil going round, caused that shell in the bearing cap to spin. So that's what it all was, so we'll get that in right. Right tubes, we've done now, we've got the oil pump now. We've turned the oil pump upside down, put some oil through it just to get it through the gubbins, yeah. It's a very shitty way of mounting this oil pump. These screws here only go to £20. Oh, no, sorry, £10. And you've got to move it around so that, I don't know if you can see that, is in line. That chain is running in line with the sprocket down there, and then put the tensioner on. I just got to check, see if I put the tensioner on correctly. I think I have, but there's a way, some arse of a way to find out whether you've got it on the right way or not, but I just done it by eye, to be quite honest. As good as anything. I had to shift it this way a bit to try to make sure that the sprocket was right in the middle. So, and the trouble is, when you're putting this on, you put oil through it, and then now it's all on the threads. So what we're going to do now is tighten these 4 bolts up, and then take them out one at a time and put some thread lock on it, because that chain breaking is what made this engine fuck up last time. That's what caused the seizure, that chain. That fucking chain there. Sorry about the swearing, but it's a very annoying knowing that that chain is all that caused my fantasies. So I want this right, so we'll be getting them bolts out, putting Loctite on them one at a time, and then putting them back in and tightening them to £10, which is nothing, which is very worrying, but there we are. Hello tubers! What we're up to today is we are cleaning the gunk out of the regeneration where it puts the exhaust gases back into the cylinder. Absolute mess. Whoever decided to do this wants their head examined, but it's a horrible job. It's got to be done. If you got the head off, you may as well clean it anyway. So I've got diesel in here now and a toothbrush, and it's taking forever, and I'm not even halfway through it. So whatever, that is being done. We're cleaning that all up before putting that on. The oil pump is on, look, that all went on good. Oil pump tensioner is on, sump is on. I did that yesterday, and by the way, I've had to put the sump on first because I can't put the flywheel on with it being on the stand because there's not enough room. So what I've got to do, I had to put the sump on, and then I'm going to have to put it on top of that desk then to put the flywheel on to do the timing, which If you had a bigger gap between there, you could have put the flywheel on, but I didn't, so this is the way it's got to be done. Of course, I'll clean it all off and put the head gasket on and everything, but it'll have to be put on here to get the timing sorted. And I think I might even spray it. I've been thinking of cleaning it up once the head is on there and blocking anything off and just maybe giving it a spray in of silver or something. Not sure yet. Okay, this is just a horrible job and it just needs doing. Just get done with it. Right, guys and gals, we cleaned it up. It's took me about 2 or 3 hours solid with degreaser and petrol, airline, what's that called? Brake cleaner. I've gone through 3 bottles of brake cleaner. It was in a terrible state, and I think I'm going to do an EGR valve delete on it because the amount of shit that came out of that thing was unreal. That's the exhaust side there now. That's not bad. It's all this EGR stuff. So, can you see that side? Probably not now, but it's all pretty clean now, to be fair. There's a little bit wanting doing there on the face there. But I'm leaving that the other way up now, so the ports go out over the air and the old exhaust gases get fed back into the engine. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. Feeding dirty shite back into an engine. Should be going out the exhaust into the fucking atmosphere and polluting some sandal wearers. Anyway, I think we're going to delete the EGR thing on this so we can get it to run a bit cleaner, okay? So from that, when you see this next time, it'll be head gasket will be put on.